This interview is for information only and should not be considered as investment advice or a recommendation to buy shares in the company featured. Welcome to this Stock Box interview.
Hello, welcome to Stock Box. Today I'm joined by Nick Cowan, the CEO of Valereum PLC. Hi, Nick.
Hi, Pam. Thanks for having me.
Great to have you with us today.
Yeah, it's great to be back. Thanks.
You've just recently released two pieces of news, two partnerships to develop both real-world asset marketplace and the V-Wallet. So let's take a closer look. Now, the first was to say that you're collaborating with Antia on the V-Wallet. So tell us more about that. What made you choose Antia?
So when we laid out our stall at the beginning of the year in February to our shareholders, we talked about a number of objectives we wanted to achieve in 24. Hopefully during the second half. One was the wallet and the other one was the real world asset marketplace. In terms of the wallet, the V-Wallet, we went through a process of identifying what we saw as three potential partners who could deliver what we needed. Antia, based in India, they were just absolutely fantastic. They have a deep pool of technologists and we loved their capability and the initial designs that we looked at. And in fact, those designs I think were being finalized today or tomorrow. And partnering up with Antia was a key part of us delivering on our V-Wallet strategy. And, you know, we're fantastic. One of our technologists is actually in India, very close to them. So we kind of knew them already. But the mindset and the culture is closely aligned with Valereum and they understand what we're trying to achieve and they're completely on board.
Well, it also says in your RNS that Antia is going to become India's largest blockchain team with over 700 professionals. So I'm guessing that's one of the reasons why you went with them being the largest out there.
Yeah, I think for perhaps viewers here who might not know a lot about us, Valereum is all about tokenization. So we're a fintech with a specific objective of tokenization, and we sort of focus on, I guess, two areas: technology and operating markets. And we talked about, number one, turning on a real world asset marketplace this year, but also then in terms of our public markets, so actually opening an exchange next year. We've got this technology infrastructure called the Bridge, which has been in development now for about 3-4 years. And that migrates to basically on-chain trading and settlement, which we see as the future of finance. So for that, we really needed a strong technology partner with a deep pool in terms of blockchain expertise. And that's what Antia. So Antia aren't just for our wallet. We also, as you can imagine, want to work with them very closely over the next 5 years to really try to develop that blockchain piece of our deliverable.
Of course. Let's bring it back to the wallet just for a moment, though. Yeah. So you're aiming to launch this year. Will this wallet be available on mobile phones?
Yeah, it will. Yeah, it'll be via an app, and you'll be able to download the V-Wallet. And we hope to get that live during Q3. I mean, that's the objective, but Q4 at the latest.
And what makes it different from other digital wallets?
We haven't built the V-Wallet to be, for example, better than MetaMask, etc. What we've tried to do with the V-Wallet is we want it to be your gateway into the Valereum ecosystem. So the V-Wallet will allow you to enter the real world asset marketplace. So you'll be able to buy tokenized real world assets, assuming you're eligible and you're cleared, by using your wallet. You'll be able to in time access other cryptocurrency exchanges. You'll be able to hold our utility token and participate in community-led initiatives such as voting on proposals which we may put to the community. It's basically a portal into the Valereum ecosystem. You can actually use other wallets, but we think it's all part of our positioning and our branding to be able to use our wallet and get access to all of those services and products that we want to build out.
Yeah. Well, talking about the real world marketplace, your other news is you've just partnered with Tokeny to develop the real world marketplace. But for viewers that aren't familiar with the concept, can you just remind us of the real world asset tokenization concept and maybe give us an example of a couple of cases there?
Yeah, sure. I think if you think about kind of the world divided into a line down the middle of the page, you kind of got public securities. So think of Apple, etc., and stock exchanges and all that good stuff. And then you've got this whole different universe of what we would call sort of bankable assets. And they could be anything from real estate, gold to wine to art to whiskey to royalties, etc. And these are generally unregulated asset classes. They don't fall into naturally the scope of financial markets or financial legislation. And historically, what can you do if you've got a real world asset? Let's say you own a piece of real estate or a piece of art. You could go to a bank or you could go to a private credit company and you could try to get financing against that real world asset. It's a bit clunky, it's a bit slow, it's quite expensive, and it's also quite a narrow market. So if you think about sort of democratization, if you like that word or not, of gold asset marketplaces, you've got the issuers who hold these assets, which has, we would say, a relatively clunky market. Then you've got investors who historically tend to, you have a house and hopefully some cash and maybe a stock portfolio or whatever. But generally, where do you go if you want to get exposure to some of these asset classes? Can you get access to royalties? What if you want to put 1% of your portfolio into art? What do you actually do? And what real world asset tokenization is growing so quickly is it allows issuers and investors to basically come together in a marketplace and not only get access to cool products and a global capital pool, but also have a secondary market where, if you want to sell your 10,000th of Picasso, you'll be able to do that, in a couple of years' time. And this is why people like Boston Consulting, they're talking about a $68 trillion market space by 2030 in real world assets. I mean, this thing is going to potentially be that's tokenized real world assets, because you can fractionalize a piece of real estate today, but it goes back to what I was saying. It's quite slow, and the investor pool tends to be sophisticated and maybe quite small. What it does is it basically moves from the few to the many, and that's what I think the whole growth cycle in tokenized real world assets is all about. And we want to be in front of that. If the half the numbers are true, the marketplace opportunity is going to be absolutely just ginormous, and it's a really exciting time.
So this would speed up the process when buying assets or managing assets, even.
Yeah, we think so. Faster, easier, cheaper, right? So if Nick Cowan wants to get exposed to this, I would love to be able to download my V-Wallet, go into the Valereum Markets Real World Assets marketplace and say, this is cool. I'm going to buy an art token, a gold token, a diamond token. I love this idea of royalties against this up and coming musician or author or sports star or image rights. Anything that has legal certainty can be identified, can be valued. Our view is it can be tokenized. So to be able to go into centralized marketplaces that are licensed and regulated to give you investor protection, I think is really cool.
So let's bring it back to your news in terms of developing the real world marketplace with Tokeny. What made you choose Tokeny?
So we've been working with Tokeny for a long time, actually, because part of the Valereum vision, we sort of call it this Red Bull analogy, where we work with what we would call world-leading technology vendors or component part makers, and we're collaborative in trying to bring those vendors together to help us achieve our vision. Tokeny have been around, I'm going to say 6-7 years. They have developed a bespoke smart contract. Sounds technical, but it's called the ERC 3643. And their values and investor protection mechanisms are in line with what we're looking for in registered security. So it's, in terms of investor protection and whitelisting, all those good things. And we've just get on really well with Tokeny. So they enable us to basically turn on the real world asset marketplace and get going this year. We could have waited until next year to build our own marketplace, but that just doesn't make any sense. We really wanted to get something going, and Tokeny have built something fantastic, and for us, it's great. So we want to be live this year, and Tokeny provides us with that white label solution.
Yeah, well, it sounds like it's all moving fast, but building a marketplace is a big undertaking. How will you project manage it?
Well, the first thing is you've got to get licensed, right? So that's the first big chunk of project management. And applying for a license anywhere in financial markets is a big undertaking. But the good news is we're good at that. It's what we've done for a living. We used to operate the Gibraltar Stock Exchange. We know how to get licensed, so we understand control environments and technology infrastructure and that good stuff. So the license application process is on track. It's going extremely well, and we have no reason to believe we won't be licensed and regulated before the end of this year. That's the first part. The second part is then building a market. So you can be licensed and regulated, but then you can have an empty shop with nothing in it. So part of the next phase of the strategy is by bringing in, really smart people who understand specific sectors, be it real estate or be it, fine art or whatever, and giving them the platform as part of the Valereum team to come in and basically build that business. And that is very much how you scale, by bringing in really cool partners to say, come and join our real world asset marketplace and help us build this business. And you're the specialist in real estate. We're not real estate specialists. This is the future of finance. We want you to be able to tokenize yields on real estate. There's a demand for it in the market. We can bring you into our business and help you scale. So that will be part of the next phase of our development, by basically identifying those partners. And we have some of those partners identified already, even at an early stage. So we're pretty excited about what's going to happen during 25. But the first stage is, there's no point doing any of this until we've actually achieved getting licensed. But so far, so good and on track.
Yeah. So how long are you expecting the developments to take before you're at the point where you can go to market?
We're hoping to get licensed in before the end of the year. Q3 is aggressive, but before the end of the year. And that means the wallet and the real world asset marketplace, Valereum Markets, basically turns on and goes live. So that's, I guess, stage one. As we go through the license process and we're comfortable with certainty, even though we're marketing already, we will hopefully be able to hit the ground running, to use an Americanism, to basically have an asset class, a market product live as we turn on the machine. So we really want to try and do something before the end of this year and having our first asset class being live and tokenized.
Before the end of this year. Well, but it is moving fast. Of course, we have been following your developments closely here at Stockbox and look forward to doing that as you move forward with this. But can you tell us, Nick, what will be your next steps? What's coming next for you?
So we've got, in terms of Valereum Markets, obviously RWA and the wallet this year, and then we will turn our attention to public markets next year. We want to operate a stock exchange next year, which is an even bigger undertaking. And part of the reason why we're doing that in 25 is we need our main technology infrastructure, the public markets infrastructure, to be ready. We announced an agreement with STT, Securities Trading Technology, earlier in the year. They're our main, if you like, main tech developer for our infrastructure. We want to have V1 ready by the end of this year and then roll that into our public exchange next year. So that's kind of what's next in Valereum Markets. And obviously Valereum Technology will then seek to white label and license that technology out to the world as we go into 25. We've also got Valereum Capital, and we are hopefully going to launch our first fund this month. I can say this month because it's the 1st of August. And basically we're ready to go. As you can see, everything's behind me is ready to go. The fund is incorporated. Everything's basically been finalized. We're literally just waiting for our bank account to be open, which should be imminent. And then we're ready to get cracking. So we're super excited about that. So there's a load of stuff happening within the three verticals: markets, tech, and capital. We've also got a lot of stuff happening with our utility token, which we will come to the market during this quarter probably, and basically have a number of community-led initiatives, which ties into our wallet go live. And then at Topco, we're doing two things. We're working on OTC in the States because we want to open up Valereum's shares to US investors. We want to get that done basically over the next few weeks. We're pretty close. And we also want to continue to raise our profile as a company globally. So obviously, being part of talking to yourself, etc., is all part of trying to get Valereum out there as a sort of tokenization thought leader, etc. So we've got a super busy run in between now and the end of the year because we've got a lot of stuff to get cracking with and go live. And then we move into 25 and try to really then start to leverage the public markets perspective. And that's going to be a biggie.
Yes, well, it sounds like you said, you are super busy and you've got a very busy period ahead. And you're also, as you mentioned, on the cusp of launching your new fund. So we're wishing you all the very best with that, Nick. And no doubt we'll be speaking to you again soon here at Stockbox.
Thanks ever so much for your time. Fantastic as always. Thank you.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.